What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Week 2 Drew Report. Tons to go over. We have a ton of mailbag questions, so I'm just going to jump right into things. I don't remember if we had this all last year or the year before, but I can tell you one guy that is going to be psyched to be stud of the week after the bad luck he's had in the JFL, and that is Dave McNeil with La Flama Blanca with just a silly 149 points in a win over Jay this week, 149 to 118. Just a killer roster here. I mean, first of all, let's take into consideration that McNeil's #1 pick, Arian Foster, scored 4 points. He hasn't been anything in the league thus far. So if he starts coming back and looks like last year's form, McNeil's going to be tough. Matt Stafford, obviously a risk when it comes to you're picking your quarterback, but doing great this year, 34 points. Ryan Matthews, another huge risk, did nothing last year, 18.6 points. Vincent Jackson, 29 points. Dustin Keller, that tight end, did you really expect anything out of Dustin Keller? 16 points. Nick Folk, the kicker, 13 points. Detroit's defense, 19 points on a defense, and that's something we're expecting. I think that's going to be a real dangerous defense this year. I'm going to get a little bit more into defenses a little bit later on. Jay, really not a bad week. I know he's starting 0-2, but not terrible, 118 points. Tony Romo, who's now questionable, playing with that collapsed lung and broken rib. Peyton Hillis, 21 points. Mendenhall did well. Devery Henderson did well. Tony Gonzalez, tight end, 20 points. Actually, a really good week. You can't really complain about anything, Jay. Deshaun only getting you 2 points. That's too bad. It looks like he's questionable now. I can't see why. Let's see what you guys left on your benches. Jay really left nothing on the bench. Really wouldn't have made a difference. Wasn't going to stop Davey this week. Davey could actually start Brandon Jacobs going forward until Arian Foster gets back. He scored about 12 points. Davey could have scored like 160 points. So congratulations, McNeil. You deserve it. Good win. Let's take a look at the next one. Let's see here. Oh, here's one I've been looking forward to. Despite the smack talk that I've been hearing from the Lizard Kings towards my Drew crew, I dominated David Bowman 130 to 101. How did I do so? With relatively quarterback Mark Sanchez, give me 18 points. Michael Turner, 20. LeGarrette Blount, 19. A lot of people got on my case about LeGarrette Blount. I remember people getting on my case with Steve Johnson. Well, whatever. 15 points. You got me a huge week last week. People got on my case about Fred Jackson. Buffalo's the way to go. 26 points. Pitts D came back. 15 points for me. Let's see. Dave. Philip Rivers, 22 points. Playing the Pats D, kind of understand. AP, just money in the bank, 26 points. Pierre Thomas, starting Pierre Thomas over Darren Sproles, I just don't get that with the week Sproles had before, but I don't think Dave's going to make that mistake again. Jennings had an okay week. Brandon Marshall, Antonio Gates putting up the goose egg against New England. I wouldn't expect that too much going forward. I don't ever remember Antonio Gates not even getting a single catch in a game. Reggie Bush really not doing much. I'm not sure if Bush is going to be what he might have looked like in week 1. And the Green Bay D looking good at 12 points. Dave did leave some points on his bench, like I said, with Sproles, but wasn't going to beat the Drew crew anyway. I had a pretty good week, so I'm very proud of that. And we'll just get to what I think about Dave Bowman when we get to the mailbag. Moving right along, Donkey Punch, Fuji, beating Kevin, 111 to 94. Decent game by both. Nothing completely overwhelming. Well-deserved win by Fuji. Drew Brees, always a money guy. Chris Johnson, really? Yeah, it's funny. Some of the Chris Johnson, Arian Foster, some of the real big running backs over the past couple of years haven't done much so far. Adrian Peterson has, so that was a pretty safe pick there. Beanie Wells having a good week. Mike Wallace, 18 points. Gronk. Fuji, let me ask you right now, and anybody else be perfectly willing to advertise any trades that you might have over the mailbag. Gronk, let me know, Fuji, let me know what you want for Gronk. I want to know what you want for him. I just think he's a spectacular tight end this year. He's going to do really well. Plaxico putting up the goose egg. But really solid week. Kevin, quite obviously Joe Flacco at 10 points just kills you. that absolutely kills you right there. I mean, is there really even any point to be talking about anything else? Why? What I want to know is why on earth would you sit Matt Ryan in favor of Joe Flacco? Just because they're playing Philly? I mean, that's a little bit of homerism, if you ask me. Matt Ryan's a clearly better quarterback on a clearly better offense at this point. I don't think Kevin will make that mistake again. Moving right along. The Pickle Smokers. Tommy Mills beating Ashley's All-Pros Eric Plunkett 124 to 102. Plunk's put up two good games, but just hasn't been able to get a win out, and that's just the name of the game sometimes. 100 points with the extra person is a good week, but it's not a spectacular week like it used to be. Tommy, spectacular week. I don't even need to look past the first three guys I see here. Aaron Rodgers 26, Darren McFadden 24, Javid Best 24. It's really all you need to know. That's really going to do it for you. The Jets defense 19 points, fantastic. Everything good so far for EP. Another goose egg. Mike Williams Tampa Bay, nothing. Mario Manningham, I think, is he out or is it somebody else for the Giants that's out for the season? I can't remember. Rob Baronis, the kicker, 2 points. Chicago's the only 2 points, but against New Orleans, you kind of got to expect that. So, good week by Tommy. Congratulations. Let's see. Oh, Tommy, Cam Newton on the bench. Would have gotten you 28. Tommy, I think that it's time to trade Cam Newton, get yourself a better get yourself some help on the wide receiver part, because I don't think Reggie Wayne's going to help you a lot. Maybe upgrade Brandon Pettigrew as your tight end. Even a little bit. You don't really need help with running backs, but I think you have some trade bait there. But Plunk, just keep pushing forward. I think you definitely need a little help when it comes to wide receivers. So maybe me and you can wheel and deal. I have some extra ones out there. But we'll talk. Let's see here. The closest game of the week. 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. Mike Sims very narrowly defeating. Another very close victory for the rookie Mike this week. 103 to 99.9. So 3-point win over Andrew. Let's see what made it so close. So Tom Brady right there. I mean, the past couple of years people have been like, oh, Brady's not going to have that 2007 season again. Last year put up the sick numbers. This year is poised to break his own records. 35 points. Everything else doesn't really matter. Brady puts up 35 points in a game. It's just going to really catapult you above your opposition, especially when that opposition's Jay Cutler. Nothing big. Miles Austin at 32 points for Andrew, huge, but it looks like he's going to be out this week. So Andrew's going to have to do a little bit of shuffling around there. Let's see, especially considering Mike is going to get more than 2 points, I think, out of the Baltimore defense usually. Let's see. Well, Matt Schaub is going to do better than Jay Cutler. I have no idea why I didn't start Matt Schaub over Jay Cutler. Steven Jackson's going to be out. Tony Holmes going to be out. Yeah, you got some work to do, Andrew, if you wanna win your next game. That's all I got to tell you. Let's see here. The dud of the week. Team punishment. Losing to Danielle's double TDs. 121.2 to 70. If you're going to have a bad week, might as well be the week that your opponent scores 121 points. That's just that. But Chris is in a little bit of trouble. His team is very, very heavily focused on Michael Vick's production. Michael Vick had a good game, but who knows when he's going to be back. If it's going to be this week, it's going to be some other point. Chris could really use some help in the wide receiver and the running back portion. He needs to get more out of Vernon Davis than 1.8. He's a good tight end, but Cedric Benson needs to do more than 7 points. Let's see if there's any help on Chris's bench. Oh, Macklin. That's right. You know what? I'm going to get to Jerry Macklin in the mailbag, so let's just wait for that. Danielle, Big Ben putting up the points. You got Rex on the bench. That's good. You can kind of switch those two regarding in matchups. LaShawn McCoy, always money, 23.6 points. Going to be really important if Michael Vick misses games. Frank Gore, very steady guy. Kenny Britt, that's your pick of the year, Nelly. Kenny Britt, he's really kind of broken out with the new quarterback in there. Jermichael, didn't do that much, but hey, it was enough to win this week. And you had Santana Moss on the bench doing a little bit. So good week, good win by Danielle. With that, I do want to get to the mailbag because we do have some mailbag questions here. First, and as I mentioned, feel free to text me your mailbag questions every Monday or Tuesday or whenever it might be, and I'll make sure to get to them. First one is from Jay. Wants to know why his team sucks. And I won't mention the name of his team anymore. I'm trying not to do that on the internet, but I'll just call them the N-words. So why do the N-words suck? Jay, I don't think they suck. I think you're being a little hard on yourself. I think I believe you're 0-2, but I think you got a good team. I think you pretty much would have beaten most people. You had 118 points. You're really going to complain about that? Obviously, I mean, Romo's gonna hurt you, but you had another quarterback. I think, yeah, Deshaun, that's gonna hurt you. I don't know what's up with Deshaun. Everybody else is pretty good. I mean, I think it's time you kind of backed off on Mark Ingram. I just don't think that. I mean, you certainly don't want to trade him. I don't think, because you're not gonna get the value you want. But I really think you got to put someone else in that flex spot. Maybe a Mike Sims Walker. Maybe. Somebody else there. I don't really think Austin Collie is going to do anything, but I think there's some adjustments you can make. I know you sent me a trade offer. I'm going to take a look at that and maybe send you a counter offer. See what we can do there. So keep your head up, Jay. I think you got a good team. Second one from Mike Sims. With the lack of OTAs and off-season workouts, Week 2 reared its ugly head known as the injury bug. Do you agree that with many starters going down, the importance of having solid backups and the weight of throwaway positions, i.e. kicker and defense special teams, are now much more impactful? It's a very good point, especially considering with 2 extra people in the league this year and that we have an extra slot. You really everybody has to start average players. So those throwaway positions like a kicker or special teams defense are really going to become much more important. We saw a kicker get 15 points. Sometimes they get 2. San Diego's defense, I think, got -2 or 3 points this week, and the Jets' defense got 20. So the difference in your defense or even your kicker, I think the defense is a little bit more predictable, is really going to make a difference. So if you don't have an elite defense, it'd probably be a good idea to look at matchups and really just kind of pick up and drop off defenses as the weeks go. I did that one year. It worked out pretty well. Let's take a look at some email. Let's see here. Ooh, here's a good one. Hey, Kamish, what are your thoughts on the surprising 0-2 start for the defending champ? This comes from Eric Plunkett, obviously. Bad roster or just unlucky with matchups? After all, Ash's All-Pros did score over 120 in Week 1 and over 100 in Week 2. First of all, with that first question you have, Eric, I definitely think you're right. I think it's just a matter of bad luck. You have a pretty good team there. But you know what? I think there's some people with some unbelievable teams. People are putting up over 120 in the first 2 weeks, so I think you really need to look and maximize what you're getting out of your teams. 100 points in this league this year just isn't going to do it. You can't guarantee a win with 100 points. You can get lucky and win with one, but usually you have to go over 100 to get a win, I think, this year. And then also during the Drew Report, I'd also like to ask the Lizard Kings general manager, that would be Dave Bowman, how the humble pie you served him this week tasted. I actually asked a similar question of how something of mine tasted to Dave Bowman this week, but let me tell you, it wasn't humble pie, and I'll leave it at that. So I'm sure that stung a little bit. That's what happens when you run your mouth. You get to brag afterwards if you win, but if you don't, you got to eat humble pie. Let's see here. I believe I have one more mailbag question. I keep seeming to get the mailbag questions to the same people. I want some more participation. McNeil, I know you have some stuff to say, so let's get going. Dear Kamish, not that I'm complaining, this is from Danielle, but why is it the team punishment has Jeremy Maclin sitting on his bench and starting Brandon Lloyd? He wouldn't have beaten me anyway, but I find this questionable to say the least, and would love some insight into this benching of a star wide receiver. Thoughts? Danielle, I rode Michael Vick and Jeremy Maclin, a combination that Chris has this year, to the Super Bowl last year. I think the common misperception is that Deshaun is the major target in Philadelphia, but you really have to remember that even though Maclin once in a while doesn't see a whole lot, he can just explode. I think he is the more talented receiver. I think he's got better, I think maybe actually not more talented than Deshaun. I think he's got better fundamentals. I think he gets himself open better and puts himself in good positions. And he tends to put up touchdowns. He can have huge weeks. And I think Chris is going to learn that lesson here. I'm not sure what's going on with Vic, but I don't think he's going to see Macklin sitting on the bench too much more with Chris's team. So that's what I think about that. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm looking forward. Have an open invitation to the league this week to come over to my house for the game on Sunday. Anybody that wants to come, please come over. Glad to have you for the Buffalo game at 1 o'clock. I'll cook up some food. We'll have a good day here. Anybody that doesn't want to watch the game, I have 2 living rooms, so we can watch one game in the game in here, and other people can sit in the other room and do whatever they want. So that's about it. Please remember the mailbag questions. It's the most important part. It's really what gets things interesting. And I'll see everybody either Sunday or next week on the Drew Report.